Line pick game 5 between Jinair and CJ. What's it going to be? Obviously, the fans screaming about the Mad Life on the Blitzcrank. But you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Blitzcrank is dead.
He earned the screams anyway, Doa, honestly, in
Dude, that
every
is
way and fashion.
Or an Alistar game.
Some MVP level performance. It's sad that we
So
don't have
good.
the MVP vote, just so I could see the replay package of his sweet plays, but maybe that'll come out next week or at a
I'm
later
sure
time.
that clip's going to end up on Reddit, dude. That was one of the best little support performances I've seen in a long time. And coming out of Mad Life, you really can't be too surprised.
So from our experience, it's quite late in the blind pick when we finally find out what's actually happening between these teams, you know, where they're actually going with their identity. Probably not going to be the Kikis-inspired jungle TF from Ambition.
Yeah, no unicorns to love here, I think.
Plenty of love from the fans, though. For CJ especially, this is a team with a massive fan backing that are just overjoyed they've made it this far.
Yeah.
Talking in the pre-game to GBM about the Heimerdinger, wishing, hoping, praying that we would see the return of the Donger, but don't have blind picks the place to see.
Please no Tom Kench. We're not going to see Tom Kench, guys. Don't worry about it. Will we see the Observer from Coco? I would imagine we probably will. Shen, played by Shy, would not be surprising. Yeah, stick with the Jinx. Alistar, CJ's got a great comp. I expect that to be locked in. And Jinair looks like they've got something they like as well. List a little bit lower damage, but we'll see if they can make it work. The lock-ins are coming in. And there it is. Pretty awesome comp for both of these teams, but nothing really too weird. Everything pretty standard. WTF 2 Evelyns, that's about it. Or 2 Elises, rather.
WTF 2 Spiders, the Australian special.
Hope you don't have arachnophobia.
Maybe we'll see different skins, but this is 2 really interesting identities. It's going to be an excellent blind pick.
Yep, nope, same skin. Oh boy. Well, it's time, guys. Game 5. Who takes it? And observe the beautiful loading screen. I guess we moved again. I have no idea what's happening with the intros and the outros anymore.
The video package died.
That's right. Here we go. CJ Entus versus the Jinair Green Wings. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Season 5 ends right here, right now for one of these two teams. And even if they make it through, a strong opponent in KT Rolster awaits them tomorrow.
Too many curveballs in this particular blind pick. We expected Azir versus Gangplank, and that's what we got in the mid lane. No Malphite, I guess, a surprise, but CJ stick with the fast push as expected. Jinx, Alistar is that complete lane. CJ, objective 1, don't die in the level 1, seems to be a success so far. The only difference you can say is that if they do try this fast push, Maokai has more tools to deal with AoE wave clear than Shen. Shen's not the best champion to really participate in any sort of fast push. He's fiercely single target until he finishes that Sunfire cape. So let's see if the level 1 favors either of these teams. The rotations are real.
That's right, that Cyan is saying God Life there. Everyone excited about Mad Life and the plays he's made in this series. When Mad Life comes alive, he can really be that support carry that CJ needs. But now they have Shen on, or Shy on Shen. Now they have Coco on Azir. I mean, they really do have the perfect comp for CJ, all the power picks for these players. Jinair going with some interesting stuff. GBM really putting a lot of faith in that Gangplank, and so far so good, but will it carry them to the final match in the Gauntlet tomorrow?
CJ are a unique team in that they prioritize Azir for many reasons. Of course, Coco, excellent lane on that champion, actually makes solo kills on it, but they actually treat Azir as an initiation champion because they're happy. They trust him so much that they just go for Shen Azir and look for Coco to make that massive initiation play with the Azir sec, even with the changes, even with the removal of the knockup for the guaranteed initiation. They don't need true initiation like an Ash Arrow, for example. They're happy for Coco to do his thing on Azir and just have Shy riding him just with a shield and a little bit of health.
Indeed. So you had to anticipate this Azir pick coming in for GBM. See how he can handle it with the Gangplank.
Honestly, CJ basically picked as expected. They went for this fast push lane that's worked for them today. This is very much something they've shown today that's been very successful. Ambition's pressure on Elise has been good. And Shen, Azir, enough said, they will always pick these champions when available. So you look over to Jinair. They made the Gangplank work to a T against Naj in Game 1, but it's crucial to mention that in that game, despite it being LeBlanc versus Gangplank, they weren't able, Najin, to actually provide a lot of pressure. Goon couldn't pressure his Mad Life looking for the head up.
Oh, he does get it on both of them. Oh, and the traps don't quite connect. That could have been a lot of danger coming in onto Jinair, especially with Ambition showing up.
What I meant to say is that GBM got a farm lane and got away with a lot, as Chaser might find some invading.
Yeah, good try. Ambition coming in. Which Elise is stronger?
So
Elise versus Elise over the blue buff. Chaser comes in. Can he steal it? Yes, he gets it.
Secures it, even though Alistair was able to roam first because they got that big level 2 advantage.
That's right.
CJ can't turn that into a blue steal, so good work from Chaser there. His mechanics never really in doubt. Excellent mechanical jungler is Chaser.
Yeah.
I guess the small point I was making was that GBM got a long leash. Despite getting counterpicked, despite having a strong ganking enemy jungler, he got time to just free farm in mid. And look, his barrel mechanics were outstanding, but Gangplank isn't going to pressure an Azir. So a lot is on Jin Air to create pressure in other lanes, to be able to ward successfully and stop any sort of dives, and give GBM time to make those powder keg links actually matter with Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, and other damage behind.
Oh, Chaser coming in. They're going to try to take advantage of the fact that GBM's been pushed quite a bit towards the turret. Taking a long time. Coco has to back away. He knows what's up. Here comes Chaser. Flash Cocoon. They get him. Coco so low, so fast. Pops that heal, able to get out. They get both summoners out of him, though. GBM still having both of his available.
And that's excellent for GBM, because even if they can't get a repeat gank, that's so much safety for the Gangplankers. There's their buff again.
Oh, now the traps look a bit better. Pilot having to come forward a little bit to get around it. Looks like it won't matter anyway. A lot of damage.
Master Jinx not really thought of as an all-in or strong early game lane, but man, CJ are playing it so well, and they've got the practice, having multiple games today already on this duo.
Yeah, they're almost playing it like you would play a Jinx Thresh lane, right? Where you have the support providing that CC that Jinx follows up on with the traps, and it's nearly working, but it hasn't quite worked yet for CJ.
Anything to keep Callista Cannon down. Remember, this is one of the strongest 2v2 lanes you can pick. This is such a strong dueling lane, maybe only second to Lucian Cannon in terms of lane control. Very high harass, very good all-in between the two, and of course level 6, the Fate's Call into the Slicing Maelstrom can do wonderful things. So look, not ahead in CS, but staying competitive with such a strong blind pick duo is a pass mark for CJ Entus for 5 minutes into the game.
Yep, absolutely. Is that level 4 for Pilot? Both ADCs getting it a little bit before their supports. Mad Life's still looking for an opportunity to jump in, but it gets more and more dangerous the higher these levels get. And it's all just sort of a bit of a bluff, because Ambition's not really nearby, whereas Chaser is.
It's a big early advantage for GBM to have both summoners of his enemy laner blown. Just means he's going to get that passive laning phase for at least the next 5 minutes. Going to be able to do his thing.
Yeah.
And farm up happily. Chaser's near, but
Oh boy, it's time for a spider fight. Oh, they're going on to Chase. There's Chafe, push back in return. They get the flash right away. Mad Life, low dodges a cocoon, exhaust on the Pilot. Does he have enough? Not quite. It's spider time. Both spiders are in, but no damage. Very close to first blood for Jin Air.
fancy feat from Alistair, keeping him alive. We're really impressive. They didn't have the ult to drop aggro.
Looks a bit top heavy with those tiny legs, but that cow can move.
It's a tiny dance, Adoa.
It's not exactly how I pictured it, Alistair, but it works.
He looks like he's dancing when he's popped his passive anyway.
Sure. He's got the fancy feet. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bull. I don't know if that quite works. Tricky barrels. Tricky powder kegs from GBM.
GBM and SOAS is certainly setting the early gold standard with powder keg linking. Now this might not be so possible in future patches where the arm time is increased about half a second, but Ambition.
Uh-oh, spider fight! And Ambition's gonna have to back away, I guess. Not quite knowing where everybody else was, and Shade did come up to try to support his Elise. No mana for Chaser, though.
Jungle control is cemented. Coco's still comfortable enough to just keep pushing in despite the fact that he has both summoners down, because he can see that Chaser is just losing duels to the opposing number Ambition multiple times.
Yeah, and that is not a good sign. If the thing is with mirrors is that they can snowball fairly quickly, and Chaser already a bit behind Ambition's Elise, which is a bit surprising. You wouldn't expect to see that. Mad Life getting the last hit on that powder keg there prevented GBM from activating it. Helped out a little bit there. Trace coming from the side, but it doesn't look like Jin Air has too much of a fighting opportunity right now.
CJ was hoping that a simple rotation of 3 members into mid would be enough for GBM to feel pressured enough to use his ultimate for wave clear. They didn't draw it out this time, but...
Yeah, well, if they get that ult out of GBM, that might be an easy dragon take for CJ.
Or an easy turret dive in the next, 2 minutes.
That's true, too. Coco coming to collect his blue buff.
Nice pink ward, giving them a lot of extra information. They're going to have a pretty exact timer. in this situation. And wow, you can see that bot lane, remember, when we last checked, Pilot was a couple of CS ahead and we thought, okay, pass marks for space. He's now 11 CS behind because of the roam that Che did to try and provide pressure for his jungler. Feels like Chaser is going to have to play in the top side jungle because the bot side is being controlled by the three-man group of CJ Entus.
Yeah, very true. Trace has been holding his own at least. I'm just glad to see him not on Fizz. That's all I got to say about this one. That's my analysis. He's not playing Fizz? Good.
Pass marks, not Fizz.
Yep.
It's like 119 chances to get it right of not Fizz, but failed 2 games in a row.
That's right. Oh, what's wrong with Trace? He accidentally picked Fizz 2 games in a row. No wonder they surrendered so fast.
Oh, dear.
Shy's like, I know how you feel, man.
Yeah, but Shy wins most of the time, sadly.
I know. That's...
What to say?
Don't tell him that, though. Hopefully he hasn't noticed.
This is actually a big thing. Honestly, this is more than GBM should have expected. When we saw multiple invades already in that area, for him to even secure the blue, it's a mistake by CJ. They let their vision lapse at just the wrong time. And although they have a pretty good timer, getting their own buff should have been by far a secondary priority to using their advantage that Alistair and Elise had in the invade to deny any sort of blue buff to GBM.
You know, Trace has his teleport up. No teleport for Shy.
Maybe a Stand United, though.
With no, that's true. I was going to say maybe there's an opportunity in bot lane to go all in, but yeah, with that Stand United, maybe less so.
Shy can be so much more flexible. Anytime there's an item purchase that he deems important, he can just go back and teleport. And while you don't want to use it haphazardly or...
At least a ninja should be pretty flexible.
It's true.
You gotta, like, bend all sorts of ways to fit through, like, I don't know, roof rafters and stuff like that. Not rafters, not like the dinosaur, but rafters, like the things holding up the roof. You can, like, spider climb your way around those to drop on unsuspecting people. Not that Shen does any of those things, but normally you'd think he would as a ninja. There we go. Cannon Barrage used to clear some of that way, but it's not going to save the turret.
See there? Only the Stinger, but enough attack speed to take down the turret, instantly plop down one of his own, and what was already good map pressure is just going to get bigger, and this is what did not happen to GBM in that LeBlanc lane. He got a long laning phase where 25 minutes he was still AoEing down creep waves, able to go full Trinity Force into Infinity Edge. He's already been forced to go into a panic Null Magic Mantle. Okay, he hasn't fully invested in the Hex Drinker, but you can see what this lack of pressure GBM is drawing mid is doing to the bot lane. They were already not doing too great, it's only getting worse.
Yeah, CJ's pressure that they're putting on all these lanes just seems to be something that Jin Air can't handle right now. Cocoon doesn't hit Che. Ambition taking a turret hit, but it looks like Jin Air can't quite save this turret. Nope. And that's 2 down already. Che acting threatening, but there's really no follow-up. I guess Chaser's coming down, but can they fight this? I don't know.
If Jin Air go on to lose this game, the drafting is obviously what a lot of people will draw attention to. The Game 3 draft, look, they tried something, they were 2-0 ahead. We'll give them the pass mark for that. The Game 5 draft, if they lose to the fast push again, they didn't have any control over this situation. It's a blind pick. You look back at Game 4, where it feels like CJ put together an improved version of the fast push comp, with the Elise in particular with the first pick, and being able to apply pressure, where that's where Jin Air deserve a lot of criticism. As for them to basically give the comp that beat them and then some upgrade to it, that's where the poor drafting really should come into question.
Yeah, I agree. And Jin Air not doing too hot in the drafting phase in games 2 and 4. In Game 5, you can't really fault them for going what they've been successful with recently. I'm a little bit surprised though to see the Maokai instead of the Malphite. It's a bit more solid, but still, I mean, Trace did so well on that Malphite. You know, in the game where your entire year is on the line, even though it's risky and blind pick, you know they can expect it, but why not go for it?
You don't want to shake your finger too much.
I will shake my finger at him. Where's the Malphite?
I mean, in blind picks, you don't want to shake your finger too much as a general rule, just because they're such a crapshoot in terms of what you draft. But CJ have picked so CJ. This is the essence of a CJ comp in any draft.
Cocoon misses, but Madlife gets ahead by Pulverize. Che completely caught out. Saved by the Fate's Call for now, though. And Jin Air not going to try to re-engage.
But they've picked a comp that's kind of susceptible to exactly what you'd expect out of CJ, and CJ haven't done anything new. They've gone back to Shen, Elise, and Azir. This is what you'd expect out of this team every day of the week, and then you've still got GBM on the gangplank, which was a very impressive performance, but doesn't apply pressure. And this comp so susceptible to falling behind early. And if the last two games have shown us anything, a 23 and 22-minute game respectively, the snowball potential on Jin Air is real.
Consider my finger shaked.
Shook?
Shaken. Shooked. Dragon goes over to CJ, and it's just all pressure all the time as they pretty much control the map right now. Getting a lot of vision in there. Mad Life not too worried about any of this, really.
Doesn't give any cares, and nor should he, Doa. Nope. There's just not a lot of catch-up mechanic from Jin Air, barring GBM getting, what, 15 minutes of free farm miraculously, despite the fact that he lost his turret at 10 minutes? It's just, it's not realistic.
I mean, even with the extra gold Gangplank gets from farming, it's looking a bit rough for Jin Air. More than a bit rough. It's looking pretty awful for Jin Air at the moment. And they only need that top turret to complete the outer three now.
This is CJ doing it again. This is the same sort of strategy we saw from EDG very regularly in the previous season, whether it was Corki or Jinx. The fast push and just creating pressure and removing safe places to farm, teleport or no. Here's a Sound One League Legends of Space.
Oh, going on to Space. Yeah, there's the Cannon Barrage coming down too. Che gets pushed away by Mad Life. Big play there. Keeps him from catching Space, and that Stand United used just to keep him alive. CJ doesn't get the turret, but they don't lose anyone.
And you've got these awkward situations where GBM is walking all the way to top to rotate on Gangplank. He's got a global ultimate, doesn't have any other CC in the packet. Azir just gets to fast push in mid, do whatever he wants, have his way with the creep wave. And if you fast push these turrets, if you just rotate with your Jinx, force the enemy team to slowly rotate, to give up on big minion waves, there's never that time for GBM to farm, and he never hits the big damage powder kegs that can wreck a fight.
Yep, pretty much. Well, they have been able to get maybe a little bit of pressure on this top lane now. Still no turrets yet this game for Jin Air.
Left with the tank wars in bot. We know how that goes. Very mixed between the two.
All right, Jin Air really needs this turret.
They're not going to.
Nope, not quite. Shy trying to harass around this blue buff. Coco, we'll see if they can steal it away. Taking a lot of damage. GBM coming in, waiting for that parlay, and he gets it. So Jin Air at least able to hold on to their blue buffs.
Already, it's a titanic struggle to get their own blue, their own red, let alone pressure around Dragon, let alone push any wards in aggressively. They have had one pink ward aggressively put to spot the blue buff being picked up since early in the game. Since then, their vision has been shallow at most. They've been just at the whim of the likes of Mad Life's Alistar. Ambition, being able to pressure, so it doesn't matter that he has a level disadvantage. He knows that his lane, whether it's Azir, who's taken out the outer turret from Gangplank, or just the Alistar, are always going to react first as Mad.
Yeah.
Trinity Force, nice power spike.
It's a lot of damage coming up from this Gangplank despite being behind, and it's something that Coco definitely needs to respect. Beyond that, Azir, Jin Air still trying for this top turret now. Mad Life and Space seem to have things well in hand, and the drought of turrets continues for Jin Air.
If Jin Air find themselves in the same spot 10 minutes from now, less than 2,000 gold behind, there's definitely a hope. There's definitely still a heartbeat for this team.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But if that lead grows, it's looking difficult.
Yeah, CJ maybe has kind of stalled out a little bit.
Fun seeing GBM always lead with that keg just out of vision and just know he can link it up to about halfway down the lane. A lot of harass range with the linked powder kegs, especially now that he's got to level 11, can have 4 down at once.
Yeah, the new Gangplank is really interesting. It's really about preparing the battlefield, right? Which is cool to see on a champion.
Every time I see him, I'm reminded of geometry when I see concentric circles and things like that. Bit of math flashback. I know you're not a big fan of math either, though.
No, but I like Vel'Koz support.
I like explosions as well, so.
Yeah. Can't really go wrong there. Now I need to play Gangplank support, right?
I mean, it's always been a thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
You're not really worried about losing your lane. It's fine.
No, I'm not worried about it.
Get Avarice Blade. Got that gold coming.
That's the idea. Take all the CS from your AD carry. I don't think they mind.
It is powder keg, push the lane.
Yeah, they're okay with that. Most Vanes I've laned with, you know, they're like, please.
Really?
Take my CS and push the lane. I don't want any.
Even I think Vayne Gangplank's maybe a bridge too far.
You are insane. It's perfect. Trace chasing away Shy a little bit here. Whoa! Oh, right in the turret. Nice little move by Shy to pull Trace along with him. He knew that was coming.
Come on, cameraman. We don't want to watch that.
Oh, we do not want to watch that. As there could be some action up in top lane. And Madlife going on to one of the Spiders, Cocoon onto Pilot. Pilot not slowed by the electricity from Jinx.
This is all pretty good for Jin Air, to be honest. They're happy to play,
yeah,
3v3 in the top lane. Hope nothing is forced and have Gangplank free farm in mid. So
no, it's really good. I mean, the longer Jin Air can stall this out, the theoretically better the situation is for them.
One of those situations where getting a turret sounds like the best way to counter this fast push, but keeping up the third one, I think honestly it's time for CJ to go back, and with Dragon spawning, I guess that's the time, but second Dragon's not a big worry if you're Jin Air. You're happy to give up Dragons if it gives you time to farm Gangplank into relevance. Well,
yeah, that turret being still alive for Jin Air is really holding up everything in CJ's plans.
You know, if that turret had fallen, what, 3-4 minutes ago, wouldn't see this extra BF sold in the inventory of GBM. That'll be relevant when we come to see the next fights. More AoE damage from the powder keg, for example. So, buy time for GBM to farm. That is the goal, and so far, pass marks.
Yep. Shay poking Madlife. Shay getting poked by Space.
This is just CJ needing to rotate, though. I don't know why they're sticking with this. Dragons spawn. They might as well just give up on it.
Oh, that Cocoon was so close. And they may have found Ambition here. Cocoon on the Chaser right away. Ambition doing a ton of damage. Just the stuns coming in. Repel, where's he going to go? Jinx Rocket comes in, does a lot of damage again to Chaser. Going to flash the wall. Nice play by Madlife. Great knockups come in. Can they get anything out of it? Cannon Barrage comes in. Ambition getting taken out by Gangplank. You know, it's still a melee in the jungle, though, as GBM enters the fray. Gets very low, though. He's still a bit of a glass cannon. And now Trace goes in, takes out Space. Madlife very, very low. That's an easy pickup for GBM. And Jin Air comes out ahead, 2 for 3.
Really nice fight from Jin Air, specifically GBM going largely unchecked meant that he could clean up the fight easily. There was never really any angle for Coco to get a meaningful ultimate out. And the overreach from specifically Madlife, it looked like a nice initiative, but they're so deep in enemy territory without a lot of wards. And is it any surprise that Jin Air looked better when Ambition gets caught?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it was a very brave move for Ambition to try that. Obviously, things going very, very well for Jin Air here.
And Space is free hitting. That's why you think, okay, it could go well, but Trace actually runs at Space and basically kills him from 3/4 health. So that lets you know how strong Maokai has gotten in just split pushing against the Shen. Cleans him up as well. GBM gets a nice little parlay kill, +8 gold, feels good. And suddenly, the items will start rolling for Jin Air.
Yeah, I mean, Jin Air, GBM, okay. Dodges the Cocoon, he's okay. Or Ambition more likely missing the Cocoon, that's more accurate. But Jin Air really in dire straits, on the edge of kind of tumbling over the cliff into a depression that they really can't pull themselves out of in this game. But finding the kills, CJ getting stalled out at a crucial time for Jin Air. And it's a new game.
All CJ needed to do was give up on this 3v3 or 2v2 battle to take that third outer turret and rotate around, get in position for a Dragon. Jin Air have never had any sort of vision around Dragon. This whole game, they haven't had the luxury. They've had no pressure in their mid lane. The turret went down at 10 minutes, but the preceding 10 minutes have just been passive farming. I believe that means GBM's got enough Silver Serpents for an upgrade. He's going to go upgrade his ultimate.
He's got 51 right now, I believe.
Go back and upgrade his ultimate. We'll see if he goes for the Raise Morale or maybe the one that increases damage in the center. Can't tell from that particular interaction. Okay.
CJ going for their second Dragon. Looks like they'll get that unopposed.
I mean, whatever. That's definitely whatever from a Jin Air perspective. Just given the fact that they were able to farm this far back into the game, they'll take what they can get.
Yeah. Well, Jin Air seems to want the team fights, which is odd because that's what CJ kind of bases a lot of their wins around.
Gangplank, especially played at the highest level, which GBM honestly been threatening to do. We can't really say 100% trust Jay.
Jay, a lot of damage, gets pulled in with that Fate's Call. And that's unfortunate to have that ult on cooldown, makes it a bit harder for that Kennen to get into the back lines.
You need to bring Elise. Chaser needs to move fast and just come and relieve pressure again. That's what's won them the last 5 or 6 minutes, is pressure being relieved. And hopefully you can do it again if you're a Jin Air fan.
Yep. Well, Jin Air just trying to stall out continuously. They still have that tier 1 and top lane alive. That tier 2 not taking a lot of damage, but CJ is really putting a lot of pressure on it. Here comes GBM, though. Well, Zero turret goes down. And can they save this turret? Cannon Barrage comes in, pushes away CJ. Nice cocoon on the Mad Life. Gets a knock up onto Che. Che very low. Goes down. Space with the kill. Gets excited, but he's low health. They need to back away. Shy on the run as well. Jin Air, I don't think they can quite catch anybody out of this. Doesn't look like it. Oh, Chaser taking so much damage. Oh, and he cocoons a Spiderling, which seems strange when I think about it. Trace trying to flank in, not finding the angle. Oh, Coco, that's a dangerous place to recall.
Definitely an overreach from Jin Air, but it's no real way to punish it. Now look at how different this game is when the lane assignments change, when suddenly the duo lanes are in bot. You know what the big thing is there, Doa? If you push up and you're finding a freeze, if you're seeing 3 members coming to relieve pressure, you can kite back to the Dragon. But when you're doing that same thing on the top side of the map, there's nothing to kite back. It's a complete stalemate. So just the misallotment of specifically Shy. Shy needs to come to the top lane, relieve pressure, and bring the bot lane back to the bot lane just so they could kite back to Dragon, because without that, they lost basically 7 minutes of game time where they had a massive lead over Jin Air.
Yeah. Still a very close game. 2 turrets to 1, 2 dragons to 0, but only about 1,000 gold lead for Jin Air right now. You got to imagine a lot of that's GBM. He's actually
1,000 up.
1,000 ahead of Coco at this point.
Feels good, man.
Though he's got the kills too, and he's also got an assist, so he's got a little bit more than just the extra gold that Gangplank gets you.
This time Space finally finds this outer turret unprotected. It took a long time. That's 7 to 8 minutes of planning, but they finally get that turret.
It's a big pickup for CJ. Creates a lot more space on the map for them to move around. And obviously the gold is nice too, but Jin Air still powerful. CJ needs to be very careful how they engage any of these fights.
Feels like GBM must be about 300-400 gold away from the Infinity Edge, which will be a big swing. Those powder kegs are already chunking. They're going to be doing serious damage.
Well, yeah, we saw one take like half of Coco's health off, so if GBM gets a couple good ones, it's going to be lights out for CJ.
The new thing about Gangplank is he doesn't need to build an item like Last Whisper, because if the powder keg's doing the majority of his team fight damage, 60% armor penetration means it's just irrelevant to add to that. So Infinity Edge complete, suddenly even the tanky Shy are going to be taking serious burst from Gangplank.
Yeah, and this is the situation that Jin Air has been searching for. Now they've got GBM powered up, so what do they do with it? How do they move around the map to get an edge?
So the big thing about Gangplank is he does most damage when he's being face checked, when he could set up his locus of control, his power points with the powder kegs being linked. So if you're fighting around Baron or Dragon, if you get control of those objectives with pink wards, you just set up the kegs in a way that means it's impossible for the enemy to fight without walking over the kegs. So when you're chasing with Gangplank, very hard to do massive damage. But if the enemy team's coming to you, Gangplank can wreck a fight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they try to scare Shy away from the blue buff. They can't keep it from going to Coco, though.
Need to make something happen. That's why they're starting this Baron.
They're going for that Baron. Yeah, Alistar all the way in bot lane. They've got no Mad Life. They've got no bot lane there. So it's going to be a trade. Are they going to go for this Baron, Jin Air? They need to keep going for this.
We've seen this before, though. It's going to be a big trade.
Yeah, that's a lot of trading for Coco. They're going to go in. There's a slicing Maelstrom. Coco very, very low. There's a kill for GBM. Could go off here. Shy can't do much of anything as he tries to get away. Jin Air can turn on that Baron, but they've taken a lot of damage. Whoa, a kill onto Chaser. I think Baron helped out with that one. Oh, this is really dangerous for Jin Air. Ambition taking some hits. Baron getting lower. Rocket comes in, and Baron does go to Jin Air. But man, it's close. Oh boy, they're turning onto Shy now. Shay, very low, can he get the kill? Shy does get one. Gonna trade another one. Meanwhile, the inhibitor taken out by Space. And I don't think he's the only one getting excited in this match. Jin Air gave up so much for that Baron.
Jin Air got away with making this sort of trade in the first couple of games, but it's super risky because, okay, you get that immediate power, but they better be ready to dive and take a decisive advantage with the Baron, because if they cannot push down and break the base, it will be in vain, because there will be so much global pressure from a Shen with teleport, with Stand United, to split push down this base at any future Baron fight.
Yeah, let's watch this one again. I mean, Jin Air just gets poked so hard by Coco.
It's a 5v3. They damn well should be winning the fight, but they take heavy casualties, specifically Chaser.
Well, Shy had a fantastic taunt. He had both Pilot and GBM.
And Chaser in the backline. I think he gets killed by Baron. He walks up and dies to a little spit from Baron. That was an individual mistake that honestly cost them a lot of the security around that Baron.
It did.
And now Jinna's making the awkward choice of pushing with the Baron buff minions without even taking out this outer turret. This is going to be a slow fight. And Azir, you can see, confidently pinging onto mid lane turret.
You know, like you said, though, this is the exact same situation, well, similar anyway, that we saw in game number 1. They gave up an inhibitor for Baron. It worked out for them then. They want to make it work again here. They had GBM that game, too.
Awkwardly, they've got, what, 4,000 gold in the bank. They're actually behind quite a lot of gold.
Oh, Slicing Maelstrom coming in. They try to get onto space. Trace going way deep in the back line. Shy trying to get some nice taunts. Coco in a lot of trouble with that cannon barrage. Such low health. Shy nearly taken out. Whoa, that powder keg did a ton of damage to Ambition.
The powder keg did 1,024 damage to a
that
tank.
Works. Easy dragon for Jinair as well, too. They're going to get their first of the game, and that 6% damage boost is going to be big going into the very late stages of this game.
6% more damage on powder keg. Sounds good to me.
You know, Jinair, they gave up the inhibitor, but they're making it work so far.
Okay, but that's the minimum, though. An outer turret and dragon does not justify losing your mid lane, so your bot lane inhibitor turret when you're on red side. This really prevents their options in the late game, and powder keg doesn't react onto Shy. Even Shy is going to be taking massive chunks from this gangplank.
Yeah.
GBM got the time at 26 minutes. We talked at 16 minutes about where they'd be in 10 minutes. They were 2,000 gold behind then they were 2,000 gold behind 2 minutes ago. Now, after all the shenanigans, they're actually ahead in gold, despite the fact that they lost their outer mid lane turret with a champion like Gangplank who has no real wave control, especially with so much map control being granted to Alistar. And Elise is, okay, pushing will continue.
Yeah, I mean, CJ tries to defend their tier 2. They're just going to lose their tier 1 in mid in response, and that's all the outers down now in favor of Jinair.
GBM's been granted a leash again. He was granted it by Goong in game 1 of the Najin versus Jinair series 2 days ago, and GBM farmed up a storm and wrecked late game fights. His turret was taken. Even though he has good wave clear with the powder kegs, it was all situational. If we could have seen the pressure keep being applied, things would have been fine. And this is a surprising adaptation. It feels like a lot of gangplanks have moved away from items like Shiv and Panas.
Oh, here we go again. Big engage onto space. Great catch, and CJ Ambition in space caught yet again. How many times have we seen it this season? And it really couldn't have come at a worse time now. Here in the final game of this best of 5, they could still catch Ambition. Chaser coming from the side. One cocoon could be pretty devastating. Shy's right there as well, too.
Why is Space the most advanced member on the team when Coco doesn't have teleport and is split pushing?
Yep.
It makes no sense. It's a really poor positioning from Space, and unfortunately he's right up there with Ambition for random brain fades in big games.
That's the thing. In big games, we've seen Ambition, we've seen Space caught so many times this season. It really has been an Achilles heel for this team, and it comes back again, and always at the worst possible time.
Yeah, so they did end up picking up a lot from the Baron. It had just faded, but 3 outer turrets, a dragon, and some kills. That's definitely a pass mark for Jinair, and man, such a close game, but Gangplank's really in position to overtake it. Remember, he wasn't even involved in that fight.
Yeah. Well, they just showed us that GBM has made about 1,600 gold from Parlay this game. That is a massive amount of money to make from an ability like that.
Maokai, Elise, and Cannon's main job is to just create zones for, honestly, Gangplank to carry. Gangplank is the true damage threat here, and even as a melee champion, has a lot of range with the powder kegs. The damage is real, and if he stays alive, I shudder to think how CJ will win a fight just because he's the big threat.
I mean, the thing to keep in mind, though, is that GBM is very fragile. If they can catch him, if they can eliminate Gang by Mom from the fight early on,
it's pretty hard to do.
can take it. It's hard to do, but if they can do it, they can win.
Gangplank is by far the MVP. Someone like Space will kill him about 5 or 6 autos, so I don't know how they engineer free time. I guess Coco, he's the man you can trust. Of course, the Emperor's Divide. Gangplank's oranges aren't going to help if he is caught out and pushed into the team.
Well, in the past, we saw Coco with those big, massive engages on the Azir. We really haven't seen that this game.
Yeah, the Azir Sec Blaze are a trademark of specifically Coco. He's a wonderful Azir player. He's on actually a pretty big win streak, I believe. It's coincided, of course, with the permaban status for him.
Yep.
The kick falls that time. Jinair. They make some questionable positional decisions, but the last couple of engagements have gone their way.
Yeah, they've been managing to stall things out long enough. That's really the big key, is they were on the edge. You know, they were right at the very edge of losing this game and managed to just hold on.
We're lucky to be granted a pretty big window in by CJ over-prioritizing, pushing that third out of turret. It got them so much success in the last 2 games, but just understanding that fundamentally putting your bot lane back in their lane assignment, allowing them to push and kite back to the dragon that spawned for a couple of minutes before they ever got near it, was just a smarter use of their resources than having tank wars in the bot lane with honestly a huge stalemate, and then a stalemate in top. Azir can't push in and kill the inner tower. It's just not something you can do safely.
Yeah.
And it gave GBM the time to pad out what is now looking like a hell of a sick item build.
Oh, it definitely is really strong right now. And Jin Air having really good vision around that Baron pit. Baron up in 5 seconds. I think Jin Air's just going to bait this until they get the fight. Uh-oh, Mad Life coming in. Gets caught in a lot of trouble. Ults to get out of the cocoon. He's going to make it. But that ult is crucial for CJ to have any sort of engage onto this Jin Air team.
Definitely. Now will be another member that will die in incidental damage to Gangplank in particular.
Yeah, sure. Just got to wait out the ultimate. That's exactly what Jin Air wanted. They wanted to force out an ult, force out a summoner. Teleport coming in, Trace from behind onto Coco. A little bit ahead of the rest of his team, but there's a cannon barrage coming in. Chaser there, Cocoon lands onto Ambition. Trace has to flash away. That's a lot of damage from that powder keg. There we go, another one! A huge powder keg from GBM. Man, CJ just cannot get close. And now GBM and the rest of Jin Air going for this Baron.
GBM is making it
the
work.
Hero, man.
He couldn't do it in the laning phase. He took his turret down, but he has to thank his teammates for buying him time, because in the late game, he is a monster in the fight.
Certainly is, and they can rush right down to this dragon now and prevent CJ from taking it. GBM, he said over and over and over again, I want to compete internationally. I want to go to Worlds. I want to get out of Korea, play in some of these other tournaments. And the way he's playing today, aside from the Cho'Gath game, I think he's on his way.
This will be the second Dragon. Dragon's definitely not a win condition for either team. They both have 2 at 35 minutes, but both Barons have gone so far to winning this game for Jin Air, and with no double teleport, with no Diana to be a secondary split push threat, this exposed inhibitor just hasn't been as big of a headache as we expected.
It's pretty amazing, too, that Jin Air's been able to make the whole give up your bottom inhibitor in exchange for a Baron. They made it work twice this series. Not something you would really expect to have happen, but they knew their limits.
I guess in this particular situation, understanding that there's no double teleport, there's no Diana to really Nashal's tooth smash down whoever's split pushing him. And for once, it's Maokai versus a fellow tank, so he's just been able to hold Shen the whole game, basically, made him accountable. And there's never been a situation where Maokai's teleport's been abused, and this time teleport and Stan United's available, but that's never been a window that CJ's really taken advantage of.
It's going to be so hard for anyone to kill this Maokai at this point. GBM's wave clear, of course, is out of control, nearing 2,000 gold from that parlay.
The casual 1,200 damage parlay to a minion, okay, but that's not even factoring in bonus champion damage with the powder keg.
Well, I've seen him do 1,000 to champions now.
That was Elise.
That's right. Jin Air using that Baron empowered Banner of Command and Cannon minion to push Ambition, trying to get some damage done. Get ready for the powder kegs, guys. Here they come. GBM throwing him in. Oh, that's a huge amount of damage onto Mad Life. There goes the Cannon Barrage. Trace comes in onto Ambition. They bait out the Shen ultimate. Mad Life so low, uses his ult as well, and now Jin Air is all clear to push this one ahead. So many summoners, so many ults used. Mad Life nearly goes down to another powder keg. GBM. Man, it's like a giant AoE Nidalee spear. 2 abilities take
an Alistar down to 100 health.
How does that happen?
This
Welcome
is Gangplank
to the new world, man. This is Gangplank, indeed.
That damage is just ridiculous. On the Siege, you never would think of Gangplank as a Siege champion.
He is now. Ooh, close call there. They managed to get the hit onto the keg before it went off.
And the big counterplay is to last hit that before the parlay reacts. Otherwise, man, you die fast.
You're playing this, like, ridiculous mini-game where you're running towards this thing that will probably kill you unless you hit it first.
I feel like we're going to finally see people really get on top of doing that. We've seen a couple of players who have been smart about kind of, I saw Def earlier in the LPL, doing a great job of hitting those powder kegs.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the next level where you take advantage of the fact that AD carry is going to be aggressively attack moving to do that and then bait them out and catch them with the likes of a Flash Shen ult?
That's when Blitzcrank comes back and you just pull him in.
With a Flash Shen taunt or a Blitzcrank pull, exactly, because AD carry is going to be the only people, ranged champions, that can actually safely clear the powder kegs, and then they're going to be opening themselves up for skill shots like you mentioned, like the rocket grab. Layers upon layers. That's why League of Legends is such a wonderful game to watch.
It's a lot of fun, that's for sure. Jin Air having a lot of fun here in the late game. CJ, not so much. Their entire year, their entire Season 5 on the line, and man, it's been such a roller coaster for this organization. They've struggled with junglers, they've struggled with everything. Madlife has come back, he's been back to average again. I don't know, man. If you're a CJ fan, I don't know how you haven't had like 6 heart attacks already this year.
I mean, think about how many heart attacks a CJ fan has had over the years. There's always been a team that, barring the early days of competitive League of Legends, have really come up short. Now you're at just the most cruelest way. You know, after the first 2 games, you would have thought, okay, it's just not our year. And then it's just so cruel that they have such an impressive couple of games. And as of right now, it looks like they'll come up short. But we've written eulogies for both Jin Air and CJ Entus multiple times this series, and both have come back. So,
you know, to be honest, too, when you look at these 3 teams that have a chance to go to Worlds, CJ, Jin Air, and KT, out of those 3, CJ, in my opinion, would do the worst at Worlds. So, as far as like how Korea does at Worlds, probably for the best if CJ doesn't go, but we'll see. The game's not over yet, but it's just looking so good for Jin Air right now.
We always talk about key ultimates or key abilities that can change a game. Blitzcrank's Rocket Grab is one of them.
I miss it dearly.
Coco has not had the chance to impact the game as we would expect on his Azir. 0-1-1 had very limited participation in this game. Look at Shy having the world's worst time dealing with the Banner of Command minions, but Coco can impact games. If we do see the Wonder Azir Sec play pushing GBM into a fight, you know, with the Shen ultimate riding on Coco, if they can assassinate GBM, which is difficult now that Spectre's Cow is complete, always is with the reality of the oranges, but that's their win condition. Kill GBM before he kills you.
It requires so much, though. It requires Coco to not be poked out. It requires Coco to do some sort of crazy, like, soldier bending E into Flash, into Emperor's Divide. I mean, it's going to be nearly impossible to push GBM out, but if they can do it, I mean, they need to do it. That's all they can do.
If anyone can do it, it's Coco. We've seen him curve ults earlier this season. He can do miraculous. Okay, now with the Banshee Veil, we're adding another layer on. But look,
goodbye,
CJ are the only team that will take no initiation and then Shen Azir and make it work. They've done it so many times already this season.
Yeah.
And now on the biggest of stages, they have to do it again.
That's right. The background music is gone, which makes it feel just that much more tense right now.
So tense, but GBM is just ungodly strong.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
6 items.
6 items. Now, there we go. Oh, yeah, the music is there.
Boot enchant. Everything enchanted. Upgraded trinket. Feeling pretty damn good.
Yeah, Dragon again coming in for Jin Air, and they have total control over not just that, but the map as well. Baron up in 20 seconds. That's going to be CJ's last chance. If they don't get this Baron, it's over.
It's been a tale of 2 Barons. The 2 Barons shaped this game. We wondered who would win out of the heave-ho of giving up your inhibitor turret and your inhibitor.
Well,
for a Baron, it was certainly Jin Air as they played and got 3 turrets and a dragon and some kills from it, and the second one cemented their advantage.
If you say who's going to win in a heave-ho composition, obviously the team with the Pirate is going to win.
That's true.
Do you even need to ask?
Gangplank in the meta, Doa. What a wonderful world we live in.
I know. How did this happen? All right. Oh, Baron up now. It's alive.
CJ loses a team fight, game's over.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, and if they lose a Baron too, I don't see how they can stop the push from Jin Air coming in. Not with the poke that GBM's able to do with those powder kegs.
Worth noting that the turret dives from Jin Air have been haphazard at best, short of maybe Malphite being on their team.
That's why we're seeing him not do it anymore.
So the wave clear is good. You've got the AoE rockets. You've got Azir as well.
Yeah.
Banner of Command will help against the Azir, but in general, Jin Air have been poor at closing. So that's the only hope of your CJ is that if you lose the Baron, maybe there's a scenario where your base isn't broken because Jin Air just haven't shown an aptitude for that at any point in 2015.
Jin Air looking a little bit scared going towards his Baron now. You'd have to imagine, though, that the heart is pounding at this point for everybody in both booths. Jin Air knows that they're still on the edge. CJ is one of the best late-game team fighting teams in Korea. You can't give them an edge.
has there ever been a closer blind pick than this game?
I don't think so. I think this is actually one of the closest, if not the closest we've ever seen.
We were talking off air about the fact that, you know, in a lot of scenarios we see, say, a hard counter comp come through, and then that's going to be a short game. We see mirrors come through, and then, of course, if you get any small lead, it gets bigger.
Yeah.
This is where it's two comps with an identity, and it's still pretty close at 40 minutes.
Trey's thinking about coming in from the side. It is time. Here we go on to Ambition. Now there's Repel immediately. Mad Life baited in a little bit. Hasn't used his ult just yet, though. Janair just testing the waters, seeing what they can do.
They definitely need GBM in position for wave clear, and for now he's being harassed out. There should be a turret for CJ.
There could be a pretty big powder cast coming in for GBM. As CJ takes his turret, he's going to try it out. Oh, CJ makes it out, though. Trey's coming from behind onto Space. Space caught a little bit. Oh, no. Cannon Barrage doesn't do anything, though. CJ a little bit zoned. Exhaust onto GBM. GBM's coming in, man. There's a powder keg. A lot of damage. Sheno onto Coco. Whoa, that was a lot of damage from that powder keg. And GBM all over everybody. Double kill for Callista. And I think this one is over, guys. Goodbye, Space. Double kill for GBM. And I think Janair and the rest of the Green Wings, while they're all in Janair Green Wings, they are going to go face KT Rolster tomorrow. The death timers are just too long. You don't need minions. If you've got Spiderlings, if you've got the edge that Janair has right now, here comes the minion wave. And man, after Janair ended that second season, nobody thought they could come back and do this. 3-0 against Najin. It's going to be 3-2 against CJ Entus. Janair is going to the final stage of the gauntlet. GG.
The improvement of Janair cannot be denied. 2 sloppy games doesn't take away from 6 amazing games from this team, and tears from the crowd have become only too regular, and they're only going to egg on a Janair team that's going to that final game.
Wow.
1 best-of-5 is all that separates them from the world champs.
And you can see the emotion on GBM's face right now. Again, this guy is desperate to go play at Worlds, and man, that desperation has been translated into fantastic play. His gangplank is spectacular.
He did it off his own back door. Okay, got a bit of an assist from CJ, just misrotating, giving him some time. But he got that 10 minutes he desperately needed, came to fights with an Infinity Edge and a Trinity Force, and an Alistar, full tank support, was dying to 2 powder kicks. That is how strong GBM got, as we saw Mad Life looking a bit forlorn on your screen. It is Janair Green Wings facing KT tomorrow.
That fight started so crazy, too. We're watching it again on our other screens, but it really was GBM. He got a 3-keg combo that took a big chunk out of Coco, let Trace get there, Shenout came down, and then it was all about the powder keg. CJ turned, caught completely. GBM did work, and Janair is going on to face KT Rolster tomorrow. They've come this far, but man, KT is going to be an extremely tough opponent for them.
Just the cruelest fashion for you CJ Entus fans out there. So near, but so far. Even in this final game, there was portions in the first 15 minutes where it looked like third outer turret would roll down to Jinx and they'd finish out the game. But finally, Janair found the way to stall out that all-important 15 to 25 minute mark. And then they ran away with the game. Even that last fight, remember, the ultimate from Gangplank wasn't even a factor, but the powder kegs, they might as well be an ultimate, and they're on a much shorter cooldown.
Yep, and Shy there, you gotta wonder if that's the last time we see him in the booth. He's been playing for a long time, he's had a great career, but a lot of talk about retirement going around the CJ organization right now, and you do have to wonder if that's the last time we're going to see some of those guys.
I do not think we will ever see Shy, Ambition, Coco, Space, and Mad Life play a competitive game together. Something's got to give, and it gave for Janair this time. They are your winners.
That's right. 3-2 victory over CJ Entus, going all the way to the blind pick. Exciting one it certainly was, and in the end, again, that Gangplank. Crazy stuff, and that means they are going on to the final round of best-of-5 against KT Rolster. Awaits them tomorrow.
Janair, your 6th placed finisher with an abjectly poor second half of the season, are running the gauntlet, looking Najin-esque, and only KT can stop them, going to the World Champ.
Jeez, we're looking at the damage on our other screen, and GBM did 40,000 damage. The next closest was 15 from Coco. Obscene amounts of damage with those kegs, of course. Tomorrow, one final best-of-5. KT Rolster versus the Janair Green Wings. One of them goes to Worlds, the other goes home.
GBM did more damage than basically 4 members of the opposing team.
Yeah.
Himself.
Yeah, pretty much.
He did more damage than the Callista and the Maokai on his own team.
He nearly outdamaged the entirety of CJ Entus. You can see the generic Green Wings celebrating in the booth, but they can't celebrate for too long. They need to get home. They need to get ready for tomorrow's match. I mean, that's the big advantage that KT Rolster has coming into this. Obviously, an embarrassing 0-3 loss to SK Telecom in the summer finals, but they've had some time to prepare. They've had some time to get ready, and they've been able to watch the matches today. They've been able to watch Jin Air. Jin Air, you know, it's pretty obvious what they're doing. They're making this Malphite work. They're making the Gangplank work. KT has a good blueprint to start off of when they play against them tomorrow. We'll have to see if they can do it, guys. Thanks for watching so much. We'll see you tomorrow to see who goes to Worlds. Don't miss it. KT Rolster versus the Jin Air Green Wings. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. I don't think we're going to see another Gangplank, though. Don't think it's coming.
I think it's going to be banned out. I think we're going to see maybe one Malphite. But you cannot let GBM have that Gangplank or you're going to get destroyed, dude. Yep.
The numbers don't lie. They were insane.
Yeah, so thanks again for watching. We'll try this again tomorrow. KT Rolster versus Jin Air. Don't miss it. We'll see you then.